You want somebody there who can give you the answer on behalf of those 25 and know that they're going to support them. And while we're kind of up on the soapbox, this is not really the right audience, but I think it ought to be mentioned, and Dee and I talked about this yesterday. General managers have got to get out of their ivory towers, and they got to come down and know what you people are doing. Is the light on? And they've really got to know what you're doing, because what you're doing it with me, and it's unfortunate that so many times we go into hotels and we have no idea who's running the hotel, and we never see them. And so, you know, carry it back and tell them we want to see them.
This is a question that came from the audience, which I hope we're going to be friends when we're through here. If you cannot give us the order, how do you feel about a salesman going over your head?
Giving us the order of what?
Making a final decision on our particular property, or a particular property.
Oh, I'm a beaut when it comes to something like that. I have a problem when booking my meetings, and I'm very honest with anybody who walks into my office on that particular question. Depends what, we have 27 different active committees within our membership. Some of those meetings, although I do the actual booking, the decision is made by that committee. Some of the meetings are booked by the convention department or the convention committee. Some of them are booked by, I still haven't figured out who, and I've been there 6 years. You all have a problem with my association, and I'm sure it's with others, of Mr. X knocking on the door and saying, I am the convention chairman of the Institute of Scrap Iron and Steel, and I'm coming in for Super Bowl for the week. And you don't know quite what to do with that person. And I get a lot of telephone calls during the year. Jane, who is this person? And usually I know who the person is. The name's familiar. Sometimes the name's not even familiar to me. Here I think is another place where your regional office can help you is by calling them and finding out. It's a difficult question, and I can't really tell you how to play it politically because it's different in almost every single case.
I have a problem where they tell me what city they want to go to, and they want to take 4,000 people to Phoenix.
On a particular date.
On a particular date, and they say make it happen. And it drives us absolutely crazy. And of course our executives, you try to talk to them, you know, and they say, well, right away, well, you're dealing for the hotel. What we're really dealing for is our own life. But I've been accused for being a hotel person, and I'm not one. But seriously, they expect us to work miracles. You know, just pick up the phone. Well, why can't you do it? Why can't you go to New Orleans during Super Bowl time and put a 1,000-man meeting in? I don't understand it. And this is the type of thing that we're putting up with. And of course, we try to go out and book in advance and then try to get them to make a decision. I've been trying for 4 weeks now to get them to see our divisional president and to get an answer. Where are we going to go? I've got stuff blocked all over the place, and it's unfair to the hotels. So the way I handle that is I tell the hotel, okay, put me on first option, but if you get something that comes up that's hard cash, give me a call and I'm going to have to release it. It's what I'm going to do. That's the only way I can handle it.
What if somebody went over your head, Dolores, after you told them?
I'd be a little upset, depending upon what the situation was, because I think if he knows that I really am turning something down for many reasons that have gone on before, either unsuitability or perhaps some preferences. The only time that, well, I shouldn't say the only time, but an occasion when, let's say, for instance, the city of New York and the hotels in New York have been trying to get AGA to go to New York for some time for our annual meeting. This decision is made by the board. That's another thing, too, if I might just get off the subject, not get off the subject, but expand on it. Knowing the fact that most of my meetings, where they are dictated, the city are dictated by the many members on various committees, on the many committees we have. And so they sort of say, GD, we'd like to go in order of preference, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they kind of give me leeway. They don't always say what hotel. They just want to know that the hotel is going to be the right one. However, when it comes to some of the major conferences, some hotel people say, look, Dee, if I get in touch with the chairman of that committee, will it help? And I'll say, well, not really, because, you know, they've already made up their mind. But when it comes to the annual meeting and going to New York City, which has had problems, I said, look, annual meeting gets approved by the board, and in New York City we have 3 member companies, one of which has a member on the board. And I said, we like to be invited by a member company to a city for our annual meeting. Well, they went out and they got Gene Lunte from Brooklyn Union Gas Company all hepped up on what it would do for New York City if AGA came in there. And so they made a proposal. I did a report for the board, and for that particular year I had a number of cities. I had definite tentative blocks of rooms, and then it was up to the board to pick. New York got it. Gene Lunte stood up and said, I want AGA in New York in 1980. Now that's where a definite bit of influence worked, and but that is not always the case. I think you have to, the salesman's better ask what the politics is all about.
Okay, thank you. This is a question from the floor, so you're not prepared, but it's a question many of us have had to face in the past, and I'm talking about unopened hotels. Do you, first of all, use hotels that just opened, and what will convince you to use a property when it's under construction? Let's see, I've tried to sell all of you on hotels under construction.
I've been in that boat a couple of times. Taking specifics, answer the first question, I took a big chance bringing a 350-man meeting into the Fairmont Colony Square in Atlanta, which is now the Colony Square Hotel. And it was at the end of September. They opened up September 4th or 5th, whatever it was. And it was a fantastic experience. During our banquet, they were running cement trucks up the elevator to pour the floors on the 8th and 9th floor, and we were occupying the first 5 floors, which we just, thank God we got the 5th floor open because I didn't have enough sleeping rooms. That's going into a new hotel for the first time. I don't mind telling you, I'll never do that again. I don't know who the unfortunate corporation or association that's going to go into a new property just after it opens up, because let's face it, they've all got bugs in them and they've got to be worked out. Elevators, phone system, fire alarm systems, staff. If you're trying to run a real good meeting, you've got all kinds of problems, and it's a tough selling job to do that. At least I, as one, will not go into a property that has just been opened again. I've just booked, I shouldn't say booked, we're going into the Hyatt in Phoenix. And Chuck Kersey, who's no longer with the corporation, who happened to be a friend of mine, I went into Phoenix on one day on a fly-in, fly-out type thing, and there's a hole in the wall. And there's some steel sticking up, and he says, look at this fantastic hotel. Well, what sold me on Phoenix was the Symphony Hall across, and that was where my main meeting was going to be. And I had no idea that they were going to have triangular rooms with walls that go down on an angle for meeting rooms, for breakout sessions. And there's where I took a chance on a hotel that was not built yet and booking a meeting into it. You do take a certain amount of chances on it.
Janie?
Bob's a good salesman, and he did sell me on a hotel. Then he left.
So have a lot of other people.
And I had to go there.
You're picking on Atlanta.
I know, poor Atlanta.
More coffee?
Yeah. I don't like to go to newly opened hotels. We have a policy when a new president comes into the Institute, the first board meeting that is held after his election is held in his hometown. Right. So that this coming April, I will be going into Opryland in Nashville. I have a performance bond signed by Opryland Hotel. in which they have guaranteed me that their opening, their shakedown, their performance will be everything that is expected by me. And what they have put up in response to, or what they are guaranteeing me is this, okay? And what the performance bond will pay me if 6 weeks prior to this particular meeting, in my judgment, this can't be done, is the cost of rebooking that hotel or that particular meeting in another hotel someplace in the United States. And I had to sit down and I figured out what that would cost me. And it was not very much. I think it was $5,000, which really isn't that much. I've been watching that hotel. I have a small meeting booked in there in February. And I don't think this hotel is running any great risk. But this would be a direction in which the Institute of Scrap Iron and Steel is going, and it's something that I'm pushing in Washington and with ASAE, and it's something that you all should be aware of.
Given a situation in which the facilities of 2 hotels are the same, this is number 14, the locations are the same, the price is about the same, what motivates you to choose one hotel over the other? In other words, what do you base your final decision on?
Hey, it's the plant. I can force, or at least I think I can force, the management of any particular hotel to accomplish what I want to accomplish. But it's the plant, the layout of the rooms, how the back of the house is operated, not operated, but the actual facility itself. I think if you have an excellent property, plant-wise, you can bring in any management team and they'll make that thing work, regardless of the hotel affiliation. That's what I'll go after.
I took that question just a little bit differently when I read it, was that assuming that both physical plants are the same and had to make a decision, then I would say it's purely people. You know, I'd a lot rather work with a staff that is a team and the whole thing's coming together than to try and mobilize them just for my meeting. And it's people, you know. That's why, you know, a couple of us have bought pigs in a poke from people, and then next time around we're a little bit more selective.